Hello everyone, this is Alex the Blue Man, and once again, welcome back to my Spider-Man-a-thon. For today, I'm going to be talking about Spider-Man Homecoming. It was pretty much my most anticipated movie of the year 2017, which would have been my most favorite of that year, but ultimately, that title belongs to War of the Planet of the Apes, in my opinion. Why I was that excited for it was because it's where the character finally gets a movie centered in a world with other Marvel characters, that is, the MCU, obviously. With all that said, did the MCU bring this character his all in the universe? Let's figure it out. As with the previous videos, this will contain some spoilers, so don't watch this if you haven't seen the movie yet. So in the movie, Spider-Man, or Peter Parker, is trying to impress Iron Man by trying to take down a weapon steal conspiracy led by a man known as the Vulture. For the positives, I do enjoy the opening Marvel Studios logo sequence. It's one of the best studio sequences I have seen so far in my life. The music on top of it is an instrumental cover of the 60s theme song. That is much appreciated and well liked, in my opinion. There are a lot of funny moments in here, like when Peter goes into his room after a day worth of superhero work. He thought he was by himself, minus his Aunt May, who is in another room, only to turn around to see his friend Ned, who is just sitting on his bed, shocked, along with his Lego Death Star falling and breaking apart. That was one hilarious moment. Whenever Vulture appears on screen is when the movie gets more serious. And those wings he has are not just for show. That is all I will say. This movie has a decent balance between seriousness and the comedy, unlike Ant-Man and the Wasp, which over-relies on comedy. The montage where he does everyday hero work was pretty good and funny. There are also some clips of Captain America just lecturing about things that's also hilarious, so I can't just... It takes me a while to describe both of those montages and scenes. For the deep moments, there's Tony Stark confiscating Peter's suit for recklessness, and where he turned desperate after getting crushed by debris. Both of those moments were hard to watch, but in a good way, because through those, and since this is a younger version of the character, those two moments are, in my opinion, the key moments to help him grow and grow, both figuratively and literally, into the Spider-Man everyone knows today. Now for the negatives. While I do like the main suit in the movie, I will admit that it's way too techy. I understand that the suit itself was made by Stark, but that is just overkill. It has a heater, a tracker, a dozen different types of webbing, and it even has its own version of Jarvis, named Karen. Even Peter himself said that Stark overdid it with this one. Peter's friend Ned, he can say some dumb things depending on the situation. For example, he tells Peter's crush out loud that Peter is friends with Spider-Man. The very end scene was a bit logic-defying. He goes home after a meeting with Stark and sees a bag containing his main suit. He yells out loud to see if anyone's home. There's not. He puts on the suit, only for his Aunt May to pop out of nowhere, just standing there with Peter's door wide open, going, "What on earth?" Though hilarious, it was a bit dumb and logic-defying. Like, why didn't he close his door, and couldn't he have heard the front door open while he was putting on the suit? And now for the characters. Let's start with Peter Parker / Spider-Man. As I said, this is a younger interpretation. So here, it's been a year or two since he became Spider-Man. He still has a lot to grow, like I said. So his highlight is using his homemade suit to take down Vulture. It goes to show that he doesn't need fancy tech to be a hero. He has his own spirit, his own persona, his own unique abilities. I could get over his tech suit because I could think of it as an obstacle for him to grow more, metaphorically. His friend Ned, I could think he's both a comic relief and a bit of a nuisance. There are moments of what he says can be hilarious, and there are two times where what he says was uncalled for. Tony Stark / Iron Man is more of a supporting character, like a mentor and teacher to Peter, so that I do enjoy that type of dynamic. There are times of tough love between him and Peter, which is understandable for two reasons. The first I already said, the second is because of the recklessness that Peter did on occasions. There's Happy Hogan, and I do not know what to think of this character here. He just gets angry and annoyed repeatedly until the very end of the movie. There are other characters like Liz, Michelle Jones, Flash, and the teacher man, whose name escaped me, but they were barely in the movie, so it's tough for me to say what I think of them as a whole. But all I can say is for Flash, rather than being a football jock type bully like in the past movies and in the comics, he's basically like a rich kid stereotype who constantly calls Peter Puny Parker, without the word puny, but I don't want to go any further details for that remark. For Michelle, all I can say is she's this film's version of MJ, but with the angst. And now for the villain, Vulture. He is a pretty good villain, a good adversary for Spider-Man to fight. His main goal for doing what he does is to secure his family future. My goodness, that sounds a bit like Breaking Bad, but you get the idea. Both with and without the suit and wings, he is scary and manipulative. I will say one thing, he is actually the father of the character Liz. I think that's her name. Who is the girl Peter has a crush on in this movie. When he goes to her house to ask her out for the prom, he rings the doorbell, and who would have guessed it, Vulture answered the door. It was a simple but a good mind-blowing twist. Looking at it now, 2 years later, I still enjoy it. Not as much as before, but I still do. I don't have much words to say about it, mainly because I reviewed one too many Spider-Man movies recently. But for what it is, it's still enjoyable in my opinion. Even after a few moments that I found random and uncalled for, I am going to give Spider-Man Homecoming an 8 out of 10. Now that's 6 Spider-Man movies down and only one more to go before Far From Home, which is Into the Spider-Verse. That was pretty much the only Spider-Man movie that I failed to watch in theaters. Luckily, I have it on Blu-ray, now to finally take my time and watch that and see how well praised it became. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Don't forget to like this video, comment down your thoughts on this movie, and as usual, I hope you all have a great, blurific day.